Hey, what is going on, guys? Welcome to another new video, and today we're gonna talk about ES6 classes. Are they syntax sugar? Can we simulate class-like behavior in ES? So let's get started. If you just have a look at this website, which is the MTN, which is Mozilla Web Docs. The first line that you really see over here is JavaScript classes introduced in ECMAScript 2015 are primarily syntactical sugar over JavaScript's existing prototype based inheritance. So yeah, classes are just syntax sugar. So that does mean that you can, it is not a new construct, and that means that you can kind of simulate classes in ES5 as well. You don't really need browser which supports ES6 to implement class-like behavior, and today we're going to take a look at it. So how would you do that? So I have for execution I'll be using the Chrome DevTools. If you haven't seen my developer console video, I'll have a link in the I button somewhere here. I don't know where the I button will be. So yeah, so I have an example right here, which is like a really okay. So we have a class called user, which has a constructor which takes in username, password, email, and age. And this is something that I forgot to write, which is that I haven't assigned. So for those who have come from the OOPS background, know that a constructor is something which is called whenever you're trying to create an object of a class. So this is the constructor. The constructor is basically takes in username, password, email, and age, and it creates an object of user. So this is the constructor basically. And let me just close this. It has one method on it, which is adult, and another method which is get username. And we have another thing which is generally implemented in OOPS is static methods. So static methods are is username taken and get all users. So these basically access a global array which is defined over here. So it doesn't really take any of the instance properties because it is a static method. So it takes in a username and it checks whether this username is present in this array, and if it is, then it will return false. It will return true, and if it is not, then it will return false. Okay, so this is basically the thing. So let's just copy paste this code and let's just see how does it work. Copy. By the way, I'll put some gists of these as well. So if you want to, just play around with the code without writing it, I'll post a link to the gist. Okay, so let's just go here. Let's go to the DevTools and paste this, and let me see the size. Cool. So we have now a class called user. So, and if you type in user, what you see really is interesting, and this is kind of the thing that I'm trying to highlight. Is it's identified as a function. The thing is, classes are implemented using the prototypal inheritance model that JavaScript uses, and which has been in JavaScript, I think, since its inception. So we have the user, and remember we had two methods. One is adult and get username, which aren't static methods, and is username taken and get all users is a static method. So according to OOPS, if you say user dot get all users, it's available on the class name and not on the object because it is a static method. So if I say enter, it's gonna print out this array, which is over here. So this is how you access static methods. And if you want to access those instance methods, what you have to create, what you have to do is you have to create an instance of or an object of the class. So let's just create one really quick, and there you have it. You have a object of class user, and you can call these methods. Get username. Get username. So it prints out the username and is adult. and this prints out true because he's 18 years old. And another thing is you cannot call the static method. So you cannot call is username name taken because it is undefined, right? What you can probably see is if I type in prototype or underscore proto, it will have those methods. On the constructor, you'll be able to see those two static methods, which is get all users and is username taken. So how do you emulate that in ES5? Well, it's pretty simple if you ask me. Let's just start with a one-to-one correlation. So the constructor that you see here is basically the body of a function. So user takes my user variable takes in a function, and this function corresponds to a constructor over here. That's why when I type in user, it shows me a function and not a class, because it is basically a function inside. So this is a function. Then whatever I type in as instance methods are put on the prototype of the object, on prototype of user, because when you create an object of this user, what should I say, a user variable, those methods will be available, because the methods that you type on the prototype get attached to the object whenever object that you create using the new keyword. These methods, which are static methods, are attached to the user object itself. So if I type in, so if I copy paste this code, it will be much easier to understand. I think it won't work because user has already been defined, so we'll just paste this quick. Yeah. Now when I type in user, it is a function. It prints out that function. Then if I type in and I'll be able to do all of those things which I showed earlier with classes as well, with the same, the access pattern. So Toby is now an object which has these methods attached to it. Toby. So if I just open this, you'd see on the proto that is adult and his username is attached to the instance of the instance of the user function. So I can access Toby.age and I can access the methods that I put on the prototype, just like you could do with adult till false. Yeah, just like you could do by creating objects of class. So I hope that would have cleared and given you a better idea of how you can simulate class-like behavior in ES5. Also, there are some advantages for using a class over something like this. So suppose if you are working in an ES6 environment where you can, write ES6 code and it works. Would you go for this type of implementation or would you go for this type of implementation? So if I am in that position, I'd probably choose the class because it's far more cleaner and it's far more readable. So for new guys, this is difficult to understand. So if so this makes the code more, what should I say, concise, more readable, and better, I should say. But again, not every browser supports ES6. So I'm looking at UI. So yeah, that's gonna be it. Thank you guys for listening. I'm gonna edit this video and put it up, probably make it 10 minutes long. Thank you guys for tuning in, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.